You have to acknowledge you're in a friend zone.
It's not an invitation for a deeper pursuit.
It's not an invitation for a deeper pursuit.
I think it's a clear indicator. It's not a...
Right. But I think also, if it truly is a friend zone, I think that you can have a conversation. Not an elongated, just an ongoing conversation, but you can have a conversation that says, I want to acknowledge that I have feelings for you.
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge that I think you're attractive and I'd like an opportunity to get to know you better and potentially date you.
Mm-hmm.
The person could say, I'm really not interested.
Yeah.
Respect their call on that.
Mm-hmm.
You've made yourself very clear.
Your feelings now.
And then just do you. If you just do you, and there is a hope for whatever, you're already on their radar as someone who has an attraction for them.
Right.
So as they go through life, their seasons, their whatever may be a prohibitive thing in that season could shift or change in life. You've already made it clear that you find them attractive. So if they want to come back around, they can, and they not feel awkward because you told them that you had that for them. So I think just respect it, acknowledge it, have a conversation. When they say no, let
Just
it be
do
no,
you.
do you.
I
Live
like
your life.
that.
Hey guys, what's up? I'm super excited. My name is Jeremy. This is my wife, Rebekah.
Hey.
And we are here with actually two of my favorite people, Tim and Brandi Manigault. Tim is,
Tim.
I don't know what he does. He does a lot of different things here.
It's Tim.
And,
It's fine.
okay.
Pasta.
You guys have how many kids?
4.
4 kids. Same, different
Making sure you
seasons.
got it right.
Huh?
I was making sure you got it right.
Mm-hmm.
Ask them their birthdays.
How long y'all been married?
19 years.
19.
In
Ooh.
a couple of weeks. In March.
Come on. I'm glad she had to remind you.
March
All right,
18.
so this one's gonna be a little bit different than what we've done thus far. I want to kind of do a little bit more of a rapid fire. Babe, feel free to jump in, answer, and obviously some of these are probably not going to be easy to answer in like a one word. So, but yeah. So if we have any thoughts in it, so here's my first one. Is in the dating and engagement process, are having doubts a deal breaker?
No,
Okay, why?
because I think doubts are normal.
Okay.
It depends on how deep the doubts are. Like, if the doubt is, do I really want to do this for the rest of my life? Is he really the one? Is it, if you're doubting your safety and all those things, then yes, I would say pause.
Yeah.
But if it's just normal, like, can I submit to him forever? Do I want to do, like, I think those
Yeah.
are normal questions that you should ask yourself.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, places like premarital is a really good place, especially if you're engaged, to bring it up in.
Because
Yeah.
a lifetime is a long time.
It's
It
a
is a
long
really long time.
I think too, as Christians, I feel like we're waiting for that lightning or that, like, I need a sign from God, and we're praying and waiting so much to see if they are the one. And so sometimes there's neglect, just in parallel to like talking about doubts. There's neglect to things that, let's say you had a word that, which is terrible if someone prophesies, this is your husband, you have a word in your heart or something, and then you're not paying attention to certain character issues that are concerning. I think God gives us that free will. He gives us parameters of like what we should look for someone, but then do you enjoy that person? Do you like them? Are they appealing to you? Those are all things that should be explored and considered in your mind.
sure.
I think that gives room for like doubts and questions, right?
That's great. I think it's good. I think it's normal. Next question, Pastor Tim, you have to answer because you have not talked yet. Is
We're 3
it
minutes
okay? By the way, these questions have been compiled by our young adults, and so we're trying to answer as many of them as we can.
Love it.
And we've been doing that throughout this whole series, and so I want us to get through as many as we can.
Let's do it.
Is it okay for couples to spend the night together without having sex?
It depends on what their goals are. Are they Christian?
I would assume that
Okay.
our young adults within Trinity
Okay,
Church
okay,
are
okay,
saved
okay.
and love Jesus.
Okay.
So that's
I mean, well, we're glad that they didn't sleep together.
okay.
That would be a plus.
Sure.
But I think that I would say no because of a couple of things. You don't want your good to be evil spoken of. You also don't want to put yourself in a position where stuff could happen, and clearly stuff can happen. So
And I would tell myself, heck no, when I was young.
yeah.
I mean, like,
I definitely
nah,
wouldn't.
girl, listen.
I would definitely not be.
But I think I don't know about y'all, but I feel like I've navigated a lot with young adults that are engaged and financially they're like, it's the only thing we can do because the economy is not allowing.
Is live together?
Yeah, is they live together. I've never seen somebody who's been in a relationship live together and not have sex.
Yeah, I think that's like.
Unless
I
y'all
want to say,
have-
where your people?
Huh?
I mean, if we could be honest, I'm saying, where your people? You don't have no parents you can stay with. You don't have no aunts, cousins, uncles, godparents.
Military, business, all the things. I mean, it's a real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a real issue. So how?
Yeah.
Okay, here's the question. Then how do you avoid that?
Get married
Just go
or live. If okay, let me put some. Let me get some parameters.
Go
because
to the
about-
altar right now.
Okay.
Meet the pastor.
If you've been
get
dating for a
married.
long time or whatever, and you know that this is where you're going, you're about to get married, or and maybe you're saving up for a big wedding.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the reason why you haven't, is because you have this dream, whatever. But you know you're putting your integrity and your character and your walk with the Lord at risk regularly in this scenario.
Yeah.
You have to. It's got to mean enough to you to explore options. You can't just. I think we just become lazy and like, well, I can't afford to live by myself. You have a friend, you have an aunt, do you have an uncle, do you have parents, do you have grandparents, and explain to them, this is what's up. We're trying to save for this and save for that. We could save more if I didn't have to pay for this on my own. Or are you at the place where your pastor would say, hey, I will do a small, intimate ceremony in my office even for you guys, and then have a public reception at the appointed time that you want to.
Yeah.
If this is what you value, you treat it
good.
like
That's
it's what you
good.
value.
Your
You know?
value.
Yeah, during premarital, I won't. If they're living together, I'll be like, bro, find a couch, find something. You can do this, and you guys can't do it while we're in premarital. But we can. There's options. I've been to churches. I don't know if y'all have been where they've married 7 people on a Sunday morning. I was like,
yeah.
oh, okay. I wasn't expecting that, but all right. Okay. All right. Here's the next question. If we have had sex, and we are now pushing for purity, is there still hope for our relationship?
Absolutely.
So what would be give me the advice? How do I manage hope, and how now that I've crossed this line, because we know when we cross our boundaries, it's a lot harder to re-establish them. What would be some of the advice that you would give?
I think you first have to establish, do we want to be together beyond this?
Yeah.
If you want to be together, then you have to put the proper boundaries in place in order for you not to do it again.
Yeah.
Right.
So who are your people?
Yeah.
Who
good.
are you accountable to? Who has your location? Who can tell you or even speak to you to say, hey, I noticed this. Are y'all okay?
Yeah.
Or even be comfortable enough to say, hey, are you having sex or not?
Yeah.
I love that. There's actually someone here at Trinity in the young adult community, while they were in their dating season, they actually shared their locations with Brandi and just said, like, I trust you to kind of, or if they were going, if it was a weekend, they would be out or whatever, she was like, they would like just check on me to make sure. There's technology available now even to support you in that. I think you got to acknowledge that it's going to be harder.
Yeah.
And so because you know it's going to be harder, you have to be willing to do the extra to make it work. But it can work.
Invite people in, create boundaries,
Be honest.
be open with the boundaries. Cool.
Yeah.
All right,
good.
here's the next question. Masturbation and pornography negatively affect expectations. How do you navigate that within marriage in particular? So essentially, So essentially, masturbation and pornography negatively affect expectations. How do you navigate that in marriage? More so, I would say, is if you've seen porn, and by the way, almost every man in America has, I think, based upon statistics, and people glean from what porn says sex is like, and then it's not like that. And how do you deal with expectations, I think, is the question within that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure.
You want to hop in on that, babe?
Yeah, I'm a slow processor, so I'll jump in, but you go ahead.
I think. Go ahead. Oh, Betty.
I think expectation is a big thing in general.
Yeah.
So just like the expectation that sex is going to be like porn is equal as the romantic side of a romance movie
That's
with
fair.
the
Yeah,
whining
that's
and
good.
dining, that kind
That's
of
good, Brandi.
expectation.
Yeah.
It's not going to be what you think it's going to be based on a movie because they're paid, they're actors. Like they're going to give you what you want to see that's going to draw you to keep doing coming to the movie.
Yeah.
Like, but real life isn't like that.
yeah.
Like, I'm not
Yeah.
expecting rose petals and candlelight dinners every night because that's not where we are. That's
not
not the
real yet.
reality.
Yeah. That's so good. I think expectations are huge. Like you said, I think, yes, also with previous sexual partners.
Yeah.
You know, maybe you dated freaks and, you know, they was doing all the things. And then you get a nice, great, wholesome, quality wife, woman, and she's like, I would never, you know?
I think too, though, like I think in marriage, like if you're married, when you're there, is honestly have conversations.
100%.
Like I think people are scared because it's so personal, it's so vulnerable. Is have conversations, bring this up in premarital. Like this is something you should bring up in premarital.
Yeah.
If a guy is struggling or a girl is struggling with porn, that's the thing we're going to attack before they get married. Don't bring that into married. Like I grew up, I don't know if you've heard this, but if you were a guy struggling with porn, I heard old heads tell me, just get married.
Yeah,
And I'm
sure.
like, that does
Yeah.
not solve
No.
the problem.
Yeah.
For
Pornography is a massive issue. And so I think the expectations, I love what you said, Brandi, so good. But beginning to break that down, what does that look like, and have honest conversations, because sex is very, very important, and we in church don't talk about it enough, and it's
Right.
almost taboo to talk about.
And we often make women who have hypersex drive or intrigue in sexuality feel like something's wrong with them.
Right.
But there could be some great lovers out there who are females that are holy, that are pure, waiting for their husband, and have every plan to make his every dream come true in the context of marriage.
Right.
That's a reality in church. But we act like if you're only holy, you're only pure, you're only chaste, and you're only, you know, this woman of God, if you never thought about sex or sexuality until the wedding day. And then these poor young ladies are getting married to these guys who have run the gamut.
Come on.
And then they're like, expectations worlds apart, you know. So I think
Yeah.
that's a very important conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is to you, babe. You have to answer this. You don't get any time to think about it. You're a processor, but you got to go, okay?
Yes.
How do you approach dealing fears, insecurities, weaknesses, areas of growth that surface during dating? Let me say it again. So I'm giving you an extra moment. That's the opportunity.
ahead.
Here you go.
Yeah.
How do you approach dealing with the fears, the insecurities, the weaknesses, and the areas of growth that surface during dating? I know that was hard because, you know, I was there from the beginning.
I think there's something so vulnerable in dating, and when you sign up for a love, because you know it's like you're in love, but then you're choosing. You get to a point where in marriage where you choose love. I think there's a need to have a level of vulnerability and sharing. Like, this is how I feel, and there's also there's a need for vulnerability, but there needs to be a space for like safety,
Yeah.
where I can
You have
come
to
to you
receive
and
it.
say, I want you to know me. These are my fears, or these are my expectations, or just even going back to the previous questions, like there's a lot of reality in men being visual. Like, you know, if you see something, or you if there's like, if you're provoked, or not provoked, but if your heart is like leaning towards something that's off, or you see someone beautiful, or and you go to a place of lust. I know for me and Jeremy, we've created a relationship where, hey, if you tell me anything, I'm going to do my best to be a safe place, because I want you to be known and I want you to be loved. And so I think vulnerability and safety have to kind of go hand in hand in a relationship so that there could be growth. Because anything that comes to light has the opportunity to heal. But if you keep stuff in, then it just grows and suppresses.
But it also the way that you respond to it can make it be more concealed going forward.
Right. Right.
And so I think that's really hard though within a team, because if you do anything in marriage, if you do that, is you're stealing from the covenant of marriage.
Right.
Like if a guy is struggling with porn in marriage, you're stealing from your wife. Vice versa, it goes both ways. And so being able to have that safe place of is huge.
Yeah.
And like, so we're really clear. Anything that comes up, and I remember in premarital in particular, the guy and the girl, Rod and Wendy Levy, they were the people who did it for us. And he said, when I'm attracted to a female, I tell my wife right away. I'm like, huh? And as I've gotten older, I've had to be more aware, and I'm like, I'm attracted. Like, and it just, and really what that is an accountability to my own heart to not allow any space to come in there.
Yeah. And there's, the word says there's healing and confession, right?
Yeah.
And
The Bible says when you James 5 is when you confess to one another, it's healing for your heart.
For people who are maybe in an early dating phase or in just community, I think finding people that are safe to be vulnerable is important so that you can grow.
And I think that's a marriage thing. I think figuring that out in the dating process, that's not the time.
Right.
But
with each other.
Right. Yeah. You have any thoughts in that outside of that? Any thoughts? No? All right, cool. All right, here's the next one. Y'all ready? I think this one's kind of funny. How do you escape the friend zone? I'm sorry to laugh. I'm so sorry, bro. Or girl, zone? Whoever you are, you ain't escaping. I'm losing it. Lord,
once friend zoned, always friend zoned.
Yeah, I don't know if you can get out of it. I don't know. My wife's like, oh my God, look at my husband.
It's tough. I think you have to acknowledge you've been friend zoned. First of all, I think denial is not the first step forward. I think denial will get you locked out.
Yeah,
you will get out of the friend zone. You will be in the no friend zone. You have to acknowledge you're in the friend zone.
It's not an invitation for a deeper pursuit.
It's not an invitation for a deeper pursuit.
I think it's a clear indicator. It's not a
right. But I think also if it truly is a friend zone, I think that you can have a conversation, not an elongated, just an ongoing conversation, but you can have a conversation that says, I want to acknowledge that I have feelings for you.
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge that I think you're attractive and I'd like an opportunity to get to know you better and potentially date you. The person could say, I'm really not interested.
Yeah.
Respect their call on that. You've made yourself very clear.
Your feelings known.
And then just do you. If you just do you, and there is a hope for whatever, you're already on their radar as someone who has an attraction for them.
Right.
So as they go through life, their seasons, their whatever may be a prohibitive thing in that season could shift or change in life. You've already made it clear that you find them attractive. So if they want to come back around, they can, and they not feel awkward because you told them that you had that for them. So I think just respect it, acknowledge it, have a conversation. When they say no, let it be no. Do you?
I like that.
All right, this is to Rebekah and Brandi. How can a guy let a girl know he's interested? I know we're a little bit older, and we've. Meaning that the game has changed.
Okay, maybe the game.
Right, I think we all can acknowledge the game of what it is has massively changed. But the question is being asked right now is how can a guy let a girl know he's interested, and can a girl ask a guy out? Is that okay?
I think it's okay. Because like we said, the game has changed.
Yeah.
Like everything is different now. I don't think there's a problem with a girl telling a guy, hey, I find you attractive. Yeah. Hey, can we go grab coffee? Can we get to know each other? I don't think that there's anything wrong with it.
Yeah.
So I'm a natural alpha type of a guy. Like I'm gonna take charge.
Could not tell.
Thanks, bro. I
At all.
appreciate you. I love you. I love the way that you built me in such.
Listen,
Yep.
you are the alpha
He
of
is a
alphas.
great builder.
I feel like for me, if a girl did that with me, I would feel kind of thrown personally because I want to pursue. What does that psychologically? I feel like that would mess me up in pursuing the girl
Yeah, because
because
you don't
now
have to
she's
pursue.
pursuing, and everybody wants to be pursued, right?
But you can still pursue her.
I
Yeah.
feel like it messed me
You
up.
could just be like, okay.
I think there's so many different personalities.
That's true.
And some men need a little help. Some men need a little hint. Some people are, people are made differently, and I don't think there's an issue with recognizing something good, and then I think making. I like the just do you. Like you just be you. You just go about your day. But if there's something that you're in someone's space continually and your heart is drawn toward them,
That's good.
and they just don't see it, why not say, hey, I would love to, let's do coffee sometime. It doesn't have to be spooky or weird, but just casually, like, hey, I'd love to get to know you. You don't have to state your intentions, but I think you just kind of create an opportunity for something to grow, create.
Come on.
Some people need a little help. Create opportunities.
Jeremy's like, nah.
Yeah.
But listen, God knew. God's not gonna send you nobody that's gonna pursue
Yeah,
you.
I mean, listen, I need a lot of help sometimes.
But not
She be
everyone.
reminding me.
not
Listen. Siri's like, yeah, you do. All right, here's the next one. How much of our past should we share, and then when? When is it appropriate?
You want to speak to that? I think for sure, by the time you get into premarital,
When it's serious.
when it's serious, I think you both need to have the conversation about your past. And I say have the conversation about your past because I don't know that the conversation of the past is fully identified as one of disclosure as much as it is about
Your history.
your history and intention. Partly because if you know my story and the things that I've lived through, what I found out in therapy was that many times how you disclose impacts how the person receives and responds to what you've disclosed.
Yeah.
And when you don't know how to properly disclose, you can make a bigger mess. But you can have the conversation with the person to say, hey, I've got like a full past
Right.
that's loaded with quite a few things. And I can't even say that I maybe accurately remember all the things. But I want to tell you, like, I was wild. I was out there. I did my thing, and I'm not proud of it. It's shameful for me, but I'm not withholding anything from you because because of shame or to deceive you.
Yeah.
I want to let you know that it was wild. I may not, if you ask me who was the fifth person that you slept with, I may not know the name, state, time, or whatever. I just may not know that. That's not me intending to be deceitful. Like,
Yeah.
you have access.
Yeah.
I think that's why the conversation is important.
Yeah.
Because they need to see that you're not deceiving, you're being
Yeah.
deceitful.
Yeah,
And the
that's
lack
good.
of information doesn't mean deception.
Yeah.
But you have to have a conversation to really
Yeah.
unfurl that. But the intention for ultimate transparency and vulnerability, I think, should be there.
And
Yeah,
it needs
and
to
I-
be there for marriage.
I think
For marriage.
as you grow closer to someone, you should know what's important to know about them.
Ooh, that's so good.
As you're growing closer to someone, if it bothers me, or if I really need to know who you've been with, like what's this past relationship or all the ties severed, like
Yeah.
those as you get closer, then you have, I think, rights to
Yes.
know.
Because I'm like, I don't want to
important
know.
things. Yeah.
I'm
And
an
that's
I
the
don't want to
thing.
know person.
I think the question that has to be asked is,
What's
hey, do you want to know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because some people don't want to know.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think the older I've gotten, I've always wanted to know everything about everything because
Yeah.
I don't want to be caught off guard with
Yeah.
something.
That's
I don't
fair,
want
yeah.
somebody
That's
coming in 5 years and say, hey, I went to coffee with Tim back at the coffee shop at Starbucks on the corner of X, Y, and Z
Yeah.
at X, Y, and time.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
You did
You
what
did?
now?
Because
Right.
then
What was you?
it's, hey, husband,
Yeah.
where were you?
I'm like,
What did you do with,
Yeah.
with who?
Yeah.
But now that I've gotten older
Yeah.
and the trust has grown,
Right.
the safety
Yeah.
of marriage has grown, I don't need to know details that I thought I needed to back then.
Right. Right.
So,
All right, so this is pretty much a follow-up question to that question. Then, with that being said, what conversations should take place in the beginning of a relationship?
the very beginning.
I think that's what they're speaking. First, second date. I think right away is, do you love Jesus?
Do you love Jesus? What do you want to do with your life?
get to know you
Get
questions.
to know you questions. Like, we don't even have to.
What was your childhood like?
Can I
Like,
see
do
if
you
I
have
like
friends?
Yeah.
I think that we sometimes go to destiny questions
Yeah,
before we
yeah.
get to data questions. Like, where were you
That's
born?
D's and D's.
Like,
That's good.
who you? How many siblings do you have?
Just see if you like being around
Do
the
I
person.
even
That
like
part.
being around the person?
Yeah.
Like, I may not like you as much as I thought I would, and that's okay, you know. But this is us dating is not a commitment to us marrying.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
That's
That's
good.
good.
When should someone walk away from a relationship?
When it is no longer healthy.
So as you're dating, when you're married, that's a conversation that you got to work on getting it healthy again. But in the dating phase, I think those are two different, very, very different questions. So then when it's no longer healthy, because I think that's intriguing in our culture too, is what people define as healthy and not healthy, right? Just because it's stagnant doesn't mean it's not healthy.
Right.
Or just because you got hurt in the moment doesn't mean it's not healthy either. So what will we say? Like, let's put it into like real practical terms. Let me give it. I'll give one is like when they don't respect your boundaries. It's probably a good time to walk away from a relationship. When you're setting boundaries and they're no longer, they will not uphold those and they don't respect those, then they don't respect you, and you'll see that as a pattern within who they are. Right? What are some other indicators? Like trying to make it as practical as you can.
Yeah.
Are you changing for the other person and not honoring who you are?
Yeah.
That's really good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That is really good.
How do you notice that?
Am I not comfortable with me anymore? Like,
It's good.
am I
Brandi.
doing things that I normally wouldn't do just to please someone else?
Yeah.
Not that I'm not stretching and I'm not growing, and those are growing pains,
Yeah.
but am I becoming someone I don't like,
Yeah.
or I don't recognize, or my friends
Ooh.
don't recognize anymore?
That's
I was
great.
going to say friendships
Yeah.
too.
Like,
You
but
should-
that goes back to who are your people?
Right.
Are you doing this by yourself? Are you being pulled away from your family and your community for this relationship? Or can they speak into that and say, hey, I'm noticing these things about you. You might just want to check it and see.
It's really good.
All right, this will be our last question. And this is to our singles who are not dating, are not in a relationship. What does a waiting season look like, and what should you be doing right now? So in the middle of being single, there's no prospects. What do you do in those seasons?
Live your life.
Live your life.
Yes. Enjoy your life. Explore the gifts and calls that God has placed within you and upon you.
It's good.
Have fun. Like, go shoot for
Travel.
the star. Travel.
See the
Yeah.
world.
Go for another degree if you
Yeah.
choose. Think about living in another nation if you so choose.
Right.
Like, stretch yourself in unique ways because this might be that season of your life where it can happen, and it may not, present itself in another. But I would say have a blast. Go to the finest restaurants, fly private, fly first class, stay at 5-star, like, just treat
Live your life.
yourself.
Yeah. I think becoming who you want to be and not waiting for a moment to define it, like,
Or a person.
or a person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Outside of
I
Jesus.
think earlier, in one of our earlier podcasts, we were talking about just waiting. A lot of the talk revolved around waiting to, like, waiting until. And I think when we live, I think there's balance to that. Like, there's desires that the Lord gives us that we want marriage, we want companionship. Those are all wholesome, godly desires. But some people wait to live until
Yeah.
they reach that thing. And he who finds a wife finds a good thing. And that wife, that person, that character that is found single, like you find that person, and she is all that she needs to be in her state of singleness. So I think it's just developing your character, developing who you are, developing your interests, your giftings, preparing yourself. I think living unto the Lord, securing your devotion to him, I think makes you the ready person you need to be for whatever purposes that the Lord has for you.
It's good. All right. Last thought, and you guys all get an answer, is boundaries when dating. What was your biggest boundary? What was yours? I don't even know what yours was. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
well, I feel like the boundaries were given to us because we were in a Bible school and we had like, you get 1 date a quarter, I think, right? Like there was, so we couldn't, we had like third wheel in Bible. It was a small Bible school in
Listen,
the
guys, I was so
Adirondack
broke.
Mountains.
I'm so thankful for the 1 day a month.
Yeah.
Listen, it was nice.
Yeah.
They
But
were kind of given to us, that's for sure.
yeah, but I think looking back,
I'm
I am
grateful.
so grateful because dating is so hard and you feel attracted to that person and you want to do all the things, and
Yeah,
I
Jeremy.
think we had the boundary. We had those boundaries that we had to be around people, or if we went on a date, then we were in public places, and then we had curfews, so we couldn't be out like late. It was just very strict. So I'm grateful for those times because when we were by ourselves, then like we really saw like, okay, if I'm grateful for the times just being real where like your emotions are so high. And I remember Jeremy just leaving the room because
Bible said, flee. I
job.
said, yes, Lord.
yeah, like just
I'm waiting, Jesus. I'm waiting.
yeah, you have to know your limits. And I think when
ran.
you're dating, sometimes you're processing how far can I go and not sin. And it takes the grace of God to really process how can I live pleasing to the Lord, versus how far can I cross the line, And so I think boundaries of if you're by yourself and you're doing something you'd be ashamed of in
That's good.
public, then you probably shouldn't be doing it. If you're past I
Girl, I
forgot.
said one boundary. You done
Oh
said all
yeah,
of them.
yeah.
Said 'em. She
Well,
said
answered
us.
for all of us.
it's important, right? If
Yeah, no, it is.
if you're in the dark, no one's there. Like that's probably not the best setup for you to thrive and
Yeah.
live holy. So don't do it.
Right.
So I think just being intentional of like, is what I'm doing pleasing to the Lord? Should I be doing it? Would I be proud of it? Would I be ashamed of it? Is more of a better framework than how far can I go?
Yeah.
Love that.
Final thoughts? Anything?
Go ahead.
I agree. Our boundaries were set first too in college when we started dating. Then we did long distance.
Yeah.
I think set realistic boundaries according to the Word of God and have the conversation around your why.
Yeah.
Why are we enforcing these boundaries?
Mm-hmm.
Is it just to keep you in check, me in check,
Yeah.
or also like, do we want to please the Lord?
Yeah.
Because when it gets hard
Yeah.
and difficult, that's what you have to go back to because the enemy
Right.
will try to exploit that point of tension
Yeah.
and make it an arguing matter.
Yeah.
And you just go back to the why. Like,
Yeah.
hey, I didn't say this in the Word. You didn't say this in the Word.
Yeah.
He said this in the Word.
Yeah.
This is our why. It matters to us. If we can't make it through the season of engagement,
Yeah.
relying on each other to help each other
Yeah.
to get to the altar. This is
Yeah.
one of our first goals.
That's
like,
so good.
get to the altar.
Get to
Like,
the altar.
without all the extra, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, we can do this.
Yeah.
We can do this.
That's good.
Yeah. I remember one thing, last thing I want to say, and then we'll be done, is I remember sitting at a Dave and Buster's. We were doing a big team thing, and I'm meeting with one of the leaders, and they're trying to convince me that it's okay to have sex before marriage theologically. And I was like, because the Bible doesn't explicitly say, right? And I think when you get to that moment, you're looking for something to fulfill you that's outside of God, right? And I'm like, and that's a conversation that I think that you need to have. Like, don't be afraid. And I think inviting people in, I think, was the best boundary that we did, and not hiding. If I'm hiding something, there's shame attached to it. And so, well, I think this has been an amazing conversation. We absolutely love you guys. You're a gift to the house. Too. You're a gift to us as friends. We love y'all so much.
Love y'all. Love you
if y'all need dating advice, Pastor Tim and Brandi love to counsel couples. But seriously, we love you guys. Thank you for being with us. God bless you. We out.